Welcome to Center Ground, your home for unfiltered discussion, where we tackle today's most talked about topics, break down current events, and give our take on the internet's latest foolishness. Tune in and let's find some common ground. Let's get this party started. Welcome back to another episode of Center Ground. I am your host, Bootsy. I don't know what to expect from this one. Title is Broke Men Are Dangerous by PMP. I'm inclined to agree with the idea that, broke men can be very dangerous. For the simple fact that some broke men have no prospects, no future, no nothing to look forward to. So they're more inclined to do dumb things. But something tells me this is not what that's about. Something's telling me this is about foolishness or some other nonsense. So let's get this going. Hold on, wait, what did it say? Mind you, the patriarchy was never real. It was always plutocracy? Plutocracy? Yeah, whatever. The 99.99% of men aren't rich men. Whoa. Let me start that over. God, I can't read today. Mind you, the patriarchy was never real. It's always been a plutocracy. The 99.99% of men that aren't rich were protecting them from the real system of taking on the role of the provider. Yeah, I gotta say I agree. Because I don't think although there are men who are in charge of the nation, so I guess it still is a patriarchy, right? Most men don't have power. It's one of those weird things. It's like how sometimes men get blamed for the actions of a small group of men that they act or behave nothing like. And that's always been annoying, but that's just the world we've always grown in. So I'm curious to see where this guy's going.
Honestly, I'm so glad that you said this because it's in my mind, but it doesn't get talked about enough at all. So I even drew a picture for it. This is how women tend to view the world. Men at the top and women at the bottom. The oppressor and the oppressed. In reality, it breaks down more like this. We have men in the 1% at the top. The women who are in the 1% usually attached to those men. Some of them are married. We have men in the top 10 to 20%. Those are your men who make, those are your six-figure earners to middle class. And the women that are just below them who those men tend to out-earn. These women generally look up and see up and do not see the men down here at the bottom that essentially hold up society. These are your electricians, your plumbers,
I'm curious though. So we know that I don't think men who are electricians and plumbers are losers, but why don't we ever look at, there should be one more group of women. And I swear they go under the radar so much, like the loser female. We don't talk about them enough. And there's more than enough of them for us to get examples. Just open your phone. You're going to see at least one. The same way you see at least one loser dude. It's like we don't talk about them enough. They should go right here. Right here. Or maybe here. But even this, he thinks these are like the electricians and plumbers. I would disagree. I think those guys belong up here. I think this section should be the morons, the drug dealers, the addicts, the losers, the ones who living in their mama house, living off of their mama, the ones who are living off public assistance, the ones who can work but don't. I think these people, men and women, belong here. But let's continue.
Trash man, all the workers that you don't see and don't care about who keep society running. But because the average woman has much closer proximity to the men down here than the men up here, they just blame these men for the shit that these men do. This is not the patriarchy. This and really not even patriarchy. It's plutocracy and oligarchy. And everyone up here is your oligarchs. You're just blaming the men down here for not stopping the men down here, even though everyone up here has ensured no one beneath them has the power to do so. Without, of course, violent revolution generally.
Now, I do agree with him, though. I never liked that notion where, you kind of get blamed for stuff you had no say in. Like, dude, if y'all talk about men not letting you work, like, that ain't me. So stop putting me in that box. Because I've always believed that women should work. I don't think you should just be sitting on your cheeks all day doing nothing. Right? And let's be real. Most of our things are automated. The dishwasher is automated. The cleaning is automated. You put it in a machine. The machine does the work. You don't do the work. So this idea that I work just as hard as people who go to their job, it's like, stop. We're not doing that. Really. But the point is, it's like, we had nothing to do. Most men have nothing to do with the laws being created. Because if we did, we would change them instantly. Child support wouldn't be what it is today. And it's like, most men don't mind if their wives work. They just don't want to hear the stresses of the job overtake their woman, and they try to protect them from it, which is crazy because that's deemed as a bad thing at this point.
And And this is why these, these back and forths on here continue, because these women listen to these women complain about these men, but you only have proximity to these men, so those are the ones that you bitch and complain to. And these men are like, well, what the do you want me to do? I'm not up here. I have no power to do anything.
And see, and that's why I said he should switch it. Like, I don't think that the plumbers and electricians or the laymen, I don't think they should be down here. I don't think that's the lowest of the low. I think they should be right about here. That's like middle. I think the lowest of the low should be the losers of the world. And that's the funny thing, because the men, their characteristics, the men who are actually at the bottom, are very similar to the men who are all the way at the top. So here's what I mean by that. The men at the top sleep with anyone. They get their pick of the litter. Why? Because a lot of women who are here, and the ones who would be here in my graph, they chase men with money. Why? Because I want a soft life. They talk about that all the time. They're not shy about talking about their wants and desires. They're not. This is why they don't care how delusional they sound. They just say it. They don't care, right? And the men up top understand that. They understand that these women want to use the men at the top. So these men use all of these women, no matter what circumstance. They don't care, right? This is why Chris Brown be kissing up on and dancing up on girls in his photo shoots. He don't care. Why? Because these women throw themselves at the men up here. Now, let's talk about the men at the bottom. The men at the bottom are usually the lowest of the low, right? They are usually the worst people on the earth. And I'm not talking about they at the bottom because they're poor. I'm talking about they at the bottom because they don't have character. They don't have morals. They just do things. And those men follow whatever these men do. If you ever talk to these men all the way at the bottom, they tend to glorify the men at the top. They tend to talk about the men at the top like the men at the top are their brothers, their family members, or they live vicariously through these men. So, like, you ever met a guy and you say, like, I don't like so-and-so rapper, and they go crazy at you, like almost like a woman? It's really strange, but these men exist. And what I find is women have the same complaint as these men as they do with the men at the top. The only exception is they got money. So some of their behavior is excused. Like Drake.
About the shit that bothers you. These men do not pass legislation. These men do. These men do not make laws. These men aren't the one that violates your rights. These men are. This is what you call the patriarchy. Stop blaming men down here for it. They do not benefit from the patriarchy in the ways that you think that they do.
Oh, see, that makes sense because he's talking about the patriarchy. See, I thought he was just talking about men in general.
If anything, they are violently victimized by it. And if you've been watching this long, you notice I've kind of skipped over these men here. And that's because these men are the men who these women want these men to become from a financial standpoint. These are the men that these women want to fuck and want to date. So they tend to kind of leave them alone until their emotions are hurt or it's convenient for them to get on these men's asses. But since this is the majority of men, that's who gets.
Or they need help. That's another thing, right? Sometimes people here get ignored until these people or the people down here need help from these people. And then all of a sudden, these people are the top go-getters.
We both have the same type of man. Like, we like a nasty fucker.
We like a fucking criminal. Like, straight up someone who is so visibly violent. That is our type.
Like someone that if we bring them home to our parents or show them to our friends, they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why do they have gold teeth?
You should never even have approached that man in the first place. That is someone who will lead you into a violent and tragic death. And Natalie and I
They're gonna kill your dog.
They're gonna kill your dog. They're gonna kill or fuck your dog. And Natalie and I are like, hot, hot, hot.
A broke man.
They're not joking, by the way. And if you know any, I don't know if they like them because they're dangerous or just simply because they're like rebellious. And a lot of people tend to think that rebellious is a form of masculinity, like hyper masculinity, but they weren't joking. And it's crazy because it's nothing wrong with them liking what they like, of course. But the problem is when those men who want to gut your dog or whatever she said, when they actually follow through, these women pretend to be confused. And that's the part that bothers me because it's like you should have been able to see this coming. He wasn't good before you. He's not good after you. You thought he was going to be good to you. Oh yeah, but yeah, you could change everybody, right?
Man is a dangerous man and you have no business dating one. And I'm not talking about lavish dates and trips. I'm not talking about having a ridiculous standard and being shallow. I'm talking about the fact that when a man is at a point in his life and he is not able to do the most fundamental things for himself.
I'm gonna cut her off right there. I'm curious to see if she's talking about what I was talking about earlier, where you have some men who just do nothing, right? I firmly believe that those men are very dangerous. And those are the men who shoot up clubs. Those are the men who start fights. Those are the men who impregnate multitudes of women with no intentions on being there for the child. So if that's what she's talking about, I'm with her 100%. But let's see. You see PMPs and he don't believe what she got to say. He laughing already, but I'm curious.
He is at war with himself, and you will be the punching bag in the war that he is having in his own self. You do not want to be that. Society puts a lot of pressure on men to be providers, to be protectors, and their identity is associated with that.
No, I think that's mostly women. I think women mostly put that pressure on men to be protectors and be providers. And I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing. I just think it's interesting that when men want certain things out of women, it's because the men are bad. But when women want certain things out of men, it's because society puts that pressure on men. Women are 50% of the society, and women are the ones by and large that put that type of pressure on men. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but I'm saying don't just try to talk it up to society. It's mostly women that put that pressure on men.
And when they
And see, I disagree with that take, because if you look at it from a holistic standpoint, it is society that puts it on men, right? Let's say a man is not productive. Obviously, women are going to say he ain't worth nothing, right? Like that's not a question I think anyone's actually going to ask. But men will also look at that dude like, yo, you a loser. Like, think about it. Think of every unproductive dude you know. You might be cool with him. You might like him. You might not put the pressure on him per se, but you probably view him as a loser too. Like, let's be real. And we all know at least one. Hell, some of us is related to them.
They cannot even do it at the most basic level for themselves. That is a problem for them. A lot of men, what they do, obviously, it's survival. They'll find a female that they will love bomb, they will convince to invest in their potential, to let them move in, to, let them put their stuff in her garage or use her address or any type of thing to get by.
I ain't gonna hold you. Like, I've seen it, so I can't say that she's wrong. Like, I've seen dudes who don't even like the chicks that they date them because she gave them a place to stay. Right. And it's usually like the lowly type of woman or the woman with extreme self-esteem issues that even take these type of men on. In the past, it was usually like the big girls who would take on these type of losers. But I don't know. Nowadays, everybody getting tricked. I mean, they all think they're tens anyway. So it's like that those old tricks don't work on everybody. But it's weird, though, because they always, if you go on the internet, you would swear like no one likes these type of men, but they always impregnated by those same men. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of men are doing that? Or you just talk about the men that you dating? Or a lot of men doing that? But
yeah, that's the other thing, right? So it's not a lot of these people like what she was talking about. There's always a select few. There's a handful. And that's what I'm saying. I think we all know one or two, but it's not like the vast majority of men are doing this nonsense. And it's weird. It's always been weird to me how whenever you listen to some people speak, they talk as if their personal experiences equates to what everybody is doing. And it's weird to me. Like, one person commented on one of my last videos about black women and their hair, and they said, no, people don't care anymore. I was like, no, you don't care anymore. People still actually care about that thing. And it doesn't stop there. It goes with their relationships. They date horrible people because that's who they are attracted to. And now all of a sudden an entire gender's bad. And let's not pretend like young men aren't doing the same thing. They got one bad experience with a black girl, like, oh, I'm never dating a black woman again. It's like, come on now, grow up.
You're just talking about the guys that you're dating.
And here's what happens. Either you spend your time, your years, your youth, your money, your resources building this man up. And because he is not in a man's position, he does not feel like a man. And once he's built up, he will.
I'm going to just go ahead and say, like, I don't understand why so many women have this argument. It makes no sense. It's like, why would you spend years building up a loser? Why? It's one thing for you to try to help somebody as they're trying to navigate through this world. But some people really are just like failure to launch. They don't have it. They're probably never going to have it. And it's like when you start hearing like these women have like relationships with these men for like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. It's like, what's wrong with you where you couldn't see better for yourself and move on from the loser? But again, these conversations seem to almost always go back to accountability. And it seems to always be attributed to some woman who's complaining about something she could have easily avoided. but it would require a level of accountability, and some people just don't have it.
Will take all of your investment and go invest it in another woman who actually makes him feel like a man, or what happened in my case.
See, look at that. Ooh. She said, what happened in my case? I knew just the way she was talking, you knew it was personal. But again, like, it brings me back, and I swear, I tell people all the time, this is why vetting in a relationship is so important. How is it that you can date somebody, invest in them, give them your money? Come on now. You just handing your money over to some dude who's on your couch, who's driving your car. And you just pretty much paying them to be a stay-at-home boyfriend, right? Hoping that they do better, and they don't get there, only to lose that man and for him to be better with someone who he actually liked. And it's like, so you telling me, one, you couldn't tell that this dude was a loser? And the other part of that is you couldn't tell that he never liked you? Like, I swear, sometimes I want to write a book on how to date in the 21st century. Like, come on, like, y'all should know by now who likes you and who don't. It shouldn't be this hard.
Is that he actually stays, but he develops a secret hatred towards you.
Well, maybe, and have you thought about this? Has she thought about this? Maybe that.
You know she ain't think about it, but it's one thing I've learned is they never say what they did to the person that got them to that point. Not saying that they should take the blame because of other people's actions, because you got to be very careful with that mentality. But sometimes, and I mean that, sometimes when you're with someone who constantly tries to break you down, even like what I've learned is not everybody's this big loser who's not trying. Sometimes people try and they do fail. And you got to have a little bit of grace for people who try and fail. Some people fail and they fail and they fail until they get it. And when they get it, it's grand, right? But what I've learned is a lot of those people, especially men who fail, they're not given room to fail, especially black men. If a black man fails at something, he's considered a failure by multiple different groups of people, right? And so imagine being considered a failure by your woman, knowing that she sees you as a failure, and then she starts treating you like you're a failure. How do you think that's going to affect the relationship? Do you think that man is going to be, completely open with that woman? I don't think so. Do you think he's going to continuously try? Not everybody has that level of persistence. Some people, you beat them down, they stop. They don't try anymore. And it's like she seemed like the type that just is argumentative and got to tell you about yourself and how inadequate you are. And then she's also the same type of person. It wouldn't surprise me if he got up and found someone who actually liked him and is doing better. And now she's alone. She don't have anybody, and it hurts.
Guy doesn't actually like that woman. She's just willing to pay the price to keep him around.
And that's what I was talking about. But you should be able to tell if somebody likes you or not. Like, we are not children anymore. The problem is some of us mentally are.
That's something that a lot of people aren't willing to admit. Women don't hold men they find attractive accountable. Okay? That's just the truth of the matter. And you can see that reflected in society when you look at people like, say, NBA Youngboy or Future, or for a white example, somebody like Elon Musk. And the only reason I'm pointing out these people is because they're people that we all might know. I could go back to my old neighborhood and point out 5 examples of dudes that ain't got nothing.
Yeah, I know a dude, he got like 11 kids. And I'm like, yo, I was talking about him with my wife. I'm like, yo, if you have a 5-minute conversation with him, he has the mental capacity of a child. The mental capacity of a child. Like, I'm surprised. I would be very surprised if he could pay his own bills. You get what I'm saying? Love him dearly. But I would never want him around my family, female family, because it's like he's poison. But these women, they love him. They love him. And I don't understand why. Because it's like, it should be clear just after a short conversation that this man will lead you. He the type of guy, love him dearly, but he the type of guy, like, you could be a successful woman and he'll drag you down. He's that kind of guy. Yet he never seems to have a shortage of women.
Going on, but because women think that they're attractive or they dress a certain way, women will invite them into their houses and live the exact same life that she's saying right now. And it's because they're trying to pay for that man to like them, and the man doesn't even like them.
Yeah, they're trying to buy that love, and it doesn't work. You ever seen somebody try to buy love? It looks so terrible. Like, we call men simps. We don't really have a name for women who do it, but there's women who do that stuff, who constantly try to keep a man by paying for his things. They do the love bombing thing. They'll pay his rent. They'll do all these crazy things because they find him so attractive. This is how you end up with these dudes who be driving some of these chicks' cars, or who don't own anything, or who can't do anything for themselves. And that's because they know they're always going to bank on that one girl who's chasing them. And she's going to do whatever she needs to keep them. And then sometimes these dudes get tired of those women, and then they leave and find somebody they actually like. And then they sit there stuck. And they make videos and write stuff like, "Broke men are dangerous."
Okay, they want a trophy wife. And when the man does finally get himself together, if he ever does, because usually it doesn't happen, they do leave them because they never liked them in the first place. And by the way, let's be 100% clear about this. The women know. The women know. They're just lust demons. They're lust demons. They want their ego stroked. They working real hard. They eating fast food. They getting big to the point where now you gotta use momentum to get up out your seat. And they want a man around to make them feel pretty. And the only way they're gonna feel pretty is if they have a man that other women want, telling them that they're pretty and inhabiting the same space as them. These dudes that they're talking about right now, they don't got no job. All they got to do is stay muscular and be good at having sex, and that's what these women are signing up for. So these women are signing up for the lifestyle that they know that they're a part of, and when the man leaves them because he was never interested in them, they try to act like the fool.
Yeah, they play dumb and they try to act like everything's confusing. I don't know how this happened, but that's what I was saying, and I've been saying it in most of my other videos before. They chase pleasure. And when you chase pleasure, you're bound to fail. Because I swear, anything that gives you pleasure short term, it usually gives you long lasting negative effects. Those people who have the ability, and I mean this, the people who can delay gratification tend to live the best long-term lives. If you can delay that gratification, that satisfaction, and that pleasure, well, you're gonna live a good life.
You knew he didn't like you. The subscription is up. You was paying for a trophy wife, and now that he finally got on his feet, he don't want to be around you no more. Maybe the dude just never liked you in the first place.
It's a secret competition. Every chance he gets, he's trying to dim your light. He tries to tear you down.
Man, you saw how she was holding her fingers? Like, I feel like that was the anger manifested in real time. Her fingers looked angry. Look at her fingers.
You knew he didn't like you. The subscription is up. You was paying for a trophy wife, and now that he finally got on his feet, he don't want to be around you no more. Maybe the dude just never liked you in the first place.
Just look at her fingers real quick, like crab claws.
It's a secret competition. Every chance he gets, he's trying to dim your light. He tries to tear you down. He speaks negatively of you, and he doesn't want people to think good things about you. It's because he's insecure in his own manhood.
Okay, well then why are the women that are allowing that dating these guys? Most women.
Yeah, it always comes back to that same question. It's like, y'all got all these words for these type of fools, and it's like, but y'all still date them. It's one thing. I could talk about gold diggers all day, like, because that was the big thing when I was growing up. But it's like, yo, if you found out a woman was a gold digger and you stayed with her for 8 years, like, that's on you. At some point, you got to understand, when you continue to allow foolishness, you now deserve it. You got to understand that. Like, nothing's keeping you there. You could have walked away, but you liked it. And that's the part that some people can't acknowledge, especially when things fall apart.
Know a guy that would treat them well. They just don't want the guy. They want a guy that doesn't like them, or a guy they can't actually maintain to give them the things that this guy is actually willing to give them. Right? So they want the things that they want. They just want it from the guy that they want it from, and the guys that they want it from don't want to give it to them. So these women are willing to pay the price because the women are the ones that are also insecure in their womanhood. They want their ego stroked. You know, if you want a man, if you dating a man based on potential, you know what to look for. A man that has a good work ethic. He has certain characteristic traits where if he's not successful in the things that he's doing right now, because it's a character trait, it'll transfer over to other endeavors. That's dating a man based on potential. In these situations, they're dating a man that's attractive. They're trying to put him back on their feet, and they're paying for the man to stay around. They're paying a premium subscription for the man to stay around. They know the man don't like them, and then they act surprised when the man shows that he doesn't like them when they finally get back on their feet, or when they find another woman that they can mooch off of. And by the way, I don't know very many men that are actually doing this. Maybe in your early 20s you've seen this a lot more, but most men I know that are actually established now that I'm 30, they don't want to live under a woman. You already talking about a specific type of man that's willing to stick around and live under a woman and live off of a woman. And
yeah, that's a good point. And I know a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people. And I think right now I know two. Like, off the top of my mind, I can think of just two. So I know thousands of people, and out of all the thousands of men that I know, there's two. So it's not as common as people like to make it seem. You know what I find hilarious is you will find like 6, 7 women dating that same loser. So yeah, it makes sense. They got the same story. They all chasing the same crap.
These types of women know that. They just don't hold them accountable because they're lust demons. They're attracted to men who have good sex and that are muscular, even though they might be a little bit overweight and they work hard. That's the truth of the matter. And it's to stroke their ego.
And when men are broke, they are not secure in their manhood. You need to leave that man alone. You need to let him go through his process.
Here's a funny thing though, because I don't think women realize this about men. Men really care about money because of women. If women didn't exist, men wouldn't really care about money as much. You ever seen those memes? And maybe I'll have something on the screen where you see like those basic bedrooms, and it's always a woman that's upset. And right, men really think it's okay to live like this. It's like, because it is. Like, men don't care about some of these materialistic stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. We're now in the age of young men being raised by their mothers. So they tend to take on the characteristics of their mothers. I think people have to start understanding the differences between men who are raised with their father and men who are raised just with their mother. Because a lot of young boys are starting to act like young women. That's why young women are now starting to say that young men are sassy. Like, some of them really are, right? They really are. But my point is like, yeah, men are simple creatures. So if you give me a PlayStation, a TV, a couch, a refrigerator, some shelter, I'm probably good. You know what I'm saying? But when you start adding factors in, it changes the game for most men. When you start adding in a woman, now I have to make sure she has nice things. Now I have to make sure her house is safe. Now I have to make sure that she's good when she's walking home. It changes you, right? It makes you want to be better. It makes you want to work harder and earn more, because now your earning doesn't just protect you, it protects your family, right? God forbid you add kids into the mix. I tell you, I said this since I was a young man. I said, if kids don't change you, you're doomed. If they don't change you for the better, you're doomed. Because I tell you, your children will make you look at your nice house and think this neighborhood sucks. I need something safer. Seriously, I go outside with my children. My neighborhood is not a bad neighborhood, right? People think I'm crazy when I be like, I don't like living here. Right. Some way today I was with family and they was like, your neighborhood is nice. I was like, yeah, but I hate it. And the reason why I hate it is because I see how the children around my children are being raised and I don't like it. So that's motivating me even more to go make some money, to do something, because I'm ready to go. You understand what I'm saying? So my point is, like, these people, they don't understand, these women don't understand the mindset of men. And I swear it would be so beneficial if women actually started to try to get to learn more about men rather than listening to other bitter, broken women about their opinion on men. I think if they actually started talking to men and listening to men, remember, they love telling us what we believe or what we feel, which makes no sense. But if they actually started listening, they would understand that men do things for women. So her point was, she didn't make sense. I said all that. That was a long statement just to say she don't know what she's talking about.
You need to let him do whatever he needs to do to get on his feet, but you are not the one to help him. If he has to go and sleep on other people's couches, so be it. If he has to go home for a short time, so be it. We've all been at low points in our life, but you, ma'am, don't need to be the one rescuing him.
And see, this is why you got to be careful when you take advice from a bitter human being. She's telling women don't help men. That's really what she's saying. That's the crux of her argument. And that's dangerous because, like she said, everyone falls on hard times. Now, you got to be careful with that, because guess what? If you have a man and he fell on hard times and you don't help this man when you could, and he knows you could, you will lose that man forever. Now, I'm not advising that any woman starts taking care of random men in the street. That's not what I'm saying. You know if that man you're with has potential. You know if he's actually trying hard. My thing is, if that man is trying, you're supposed to be his helpmate. If you can't be that man's helpmate, that literally means you are not qualified to be his wife. I need to let that simmer for a second. If you can't help a man when he is down, you are essentially useless to that man. Your job is not supposed to sit pretty and benefit from his hard work. That's not how this is supposed to go. And women who have that mentality will struggle in life. Like this lady. It would not surprise me. I can't see her fingers. It wouldn't surprise me if there's nothing there. It would not surprise me if she's lonely. It would not surprise me if she's bitter. Why? because she got hurt by some loser who probably never really liked her, who probably just wanted to lose her because she was lusting after him and he was lusting after her. And now she's like, I can't help no man. All right, ma'am. Because if you can't help no ma'am and you're supposed to be his helpmate, how you helping? And if you're of no help, you might as well stay by your damn self.
What is that animal? I think it's the sea turtle. Please, I know you'll come for me in the comments if I'm wrong. But the life of a sea turtle, this is what I've heard. I've never been there. I've never seen it. But
where's she going with this? You're talking about sea turtles now. I hope this is good.
Sea turtles are born in the sand, and it's a long journey from the sand to the ocean. They want to live in the ocean. That's where they're journeying towards the ocean. And it's a very long, hard, arduous journey.
Yeah, most of them don't make it, but I'm like, what's the point?
To get from where they were born to the ocean. And that journey, a lot of them don't make it. And they are struggling. They're moving slowly. They're almost out of, the energy to actually get to the waves, to the ocean where they will thrive.
Word.
And so tourists go and they see these little turtles and they go and pick them up because they feel sorry for them. And they take them and they carry them to the ocean. And what happens is those turtles die because the journey from the sand to the ocean, they were developing muscles, they were developing stamina, they were developing survival skills that are going to be necessary for them to survive.
Ooh, I got a good one.
Yeah, okay, that was actually.
Nah, that was a good analogy. I thought she wasn't gonna bring it home because I was like, that's stupid. But here's the thing: we're not sea turtles, and sometimes people do need help. One thing I've learned about successful people, and I've been around a lot of successful people. All these people got help, whether they admit it or not. Different story. They all get help. This idea that you can do it all by yourself, that's not the way this world is built anymore. You're not doing anything all by yourself because people aren't all knowing, right? So here's the thing. Let's turn it around. Let's flip it like a coin. Like Two-Face used to flip that coin in the old Batman series. All these women who need help, what if men said, I can't help you because you need to build up your own muscle and strengthen yourself? Imagine all these men who see women getting assaulted in the street. Nah, she got it. She got to build up those muscles. You see how this can be very dangerous rhetoric?
See a good analogy. I see what she's saying, and I get it. I do agree that men who aren't as productive are definitely in a different headspace, but I think it's disingenuous to say you're dating a man based on his potential when you know the man doesn't like you and you know he doesn't actually have potential. He using your car to go talk to other women when you at your job. He telling you he gonna flip your tax refund money, and you buying the sweet nothings because when a man is attractive and a woman likes a man enough, a man don't even got to lie to him because they'll lie to themselves about the man. That's the truth of the matter. These types of women are not dating these men based on potential. They listening to these men tell them sweet nothings. They know it's not true, but they want to believe it, so they lie to themselves. And the man continues to reflect the characteristics of the man he was the whole time, and they just try to ignore it.
You are not Build-A-Bear. You are not Captain Save-A-Ho. You deserve to be loved, protected, provided.
I find it so strange that women love using male terminology. It's like, you're not Captain Save-A-Ho. He ain't a hoe. I mean, he would be a gigolo. So that would be a joke. Like it's different terminology. It's just weird that like a lot of women try to adapt the terminology that men use. Even like you started hearing women say, hey, suck my, you know what? And it's like, wait, huh? Where'd that come from?
Cared for, showered with gifts, showered with love. And I'm not being shallow. It doesn't have to be trips to Paris and Rome, although we don't refuse that. I am saying.
But see, even that mentality, you don't refuse that. That's how a lot of women get taken. I keep bringing up that Tyler Perry movie where that rich dude took that homely girl from the homely dude, and she left with a gift that keeps on giving. Why? Because she was chasing the money. Keep going. Keep telling people to chase that money and see if it's going to benefit them in the long run. And I bet you usually don't.
That when a man is not where he wants to be, it is never going to serve you. You are going to be the one paying for it. He is either going to build himself up and go somewhere else or stay where he's at and secretly resent you for it. It's not worth it. It's not his time to be looking for somebody to add to his life. But because he's trying to survive, he'll do whatever he has to do. Don't be stupid. One more thing I want to add. That whole saying of what you don't do, another one will. I'm okay with that. Okay? I'm very well aware that if I don't do it, another female will. And guess what? I don't want to be the female. Okay? I'm very well aware.
Man.
If I don't do it, another one will.
Hold on.
I'm okay with that.
I ain't gonna hold you for a second. I thought she only had 4 fingers. That bugged me out for a second. All right, let me stop playing. This video almost over. Stop playing. Hold on.
Okay? I'm very well aware that if I don't do it, another female will. And guess what? I don't want to be the female that will. I will happily let him go somewhere else.
I bet you that same dude she talking about, if he got right, she would have got right back with him though. So I don't believe a word she's saying. But yeah, it is true though, because there's always another sucker. There's suckers born every day, like every day.
It's not going to be me. I'm at peace with that, sir. You can go. Bye-bye.
Yeah, this is a motivational speech.
Yeah, I know PMP about to do his close, but I'm gonna hit you off with mine, right? So these people are jokes, like they really are. They give bad advice, which is why people say don't take relationship advice from single women, because they still trying to figure it out. And while they trying to figure it out, they poison the well. Because here's what I've learned: some people, when they're upset, they say things that they don't actually mean, and they say things that they don't believe themselves, right? But I'll leave you with this little tidbit, right? You don't have to date anyone who's broke. You don't, right? You don't have to date anyone who isn't where you want them to be. However, you waiting at the finish line is not a winning strategy. It works for some. The chances of it working for you, slim to none, right? My wife got with me when I was broke, right? At some point, she ended up making more money than me. She stuck it out with me while I was broke. So guess who don't have to worry about stuff anymore, right? If she need me to get something, I'll work harder to go get it. You get what I'm saying? The reason why I have this mentality is because the woman worked to make sure that our family was good. If I was inadequate, she fulfilled that need. That's a helpmate. That's a wife. That's why she has a ring. If you want a ring, y'all gotta start learning how to behave like a wife, how to behave like a helpmate. Stop trying to wait at the finish line. Stop trying to get a ready-made man, this unicorn Negro that does not exist anywhere in the world ever. And start working with people who are worth working with, not the losers that you like so much that you hope will get it right one day. That goes for both men and women, y'all. We not sexist over here, but we will state the truth, sometimes the obvious. Work with people who are putting forth an effort, not just because you're attracted to them. Well, I'm off this one. This one was an interesting one. But broke men can be dangerous, but that's a different topic, and she didn't touch on it as I thought. She's just mad because she dated a broke guy and it didn't work out. Don't be like this woman. Be smarter, be better, be wiser. All right, I'll holla at y'all soon. Have a good one. Thanks for listening to the Center Ground Podcast. We'll be back soon with some more great content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. We are in a new channel, and growth is essentially our main objective. So send us an email at centerground.pod@gmail.com with any ideas or clips you would like for us to review. This was definitely fun, and I'd say let's do it again. But before you go, always remember, greatness lives somewhere within you. Just make sure you're taking the time to find the key to unlock that greatness. Until we meet again, I'll see you soon.